This article is part of David Leonhardt's newsletter. You can sign up here to receive it each weekday. Steve Bullock is the most important person on the planet, Robert Frank, the economist and author, recently wrote to me in an email. Bullock is the populist Democratic governor of Montana who's running a lackluster campaign for president. But he's so popular in Montana, despite its deep conservatism, that he is the only Democrat with any reasonable chance of beating the state's incumbent Republican Senator, Steve Daines, next year. That's why Frank thinks Bullock is the most important person on the planet. The window of opportunity for effective action on the climate crisis is rapidly closing, Frank wrote. Absent robust measures to curb greenhouse gases, climate scientists forecast steadily more frequent and intense storms, droughts, flooding, and wildfires. Alone among major political parties worldwide, Republicans have refused even to admit the existence of climate change, much less enact meaningful legislation for dealing with it. And seemingly the only way the United States will take meaningful climate action in the next couple years is if the Democrats control both Congress and the White House. Nobody has a greater opportunity to affect Senate control in 2021 than Bullock. The Democrats need to win a net of at least 3 seats to retake Senate control, and Bullock would immediately expand the field of competitive races. If I could think of one person facing a decision that might similarly affect the 2020 presidential race, I would be tempted to argue with Frank. But I can't. According to Montana law, Bullock's deadline to enter the Senate race is March 9th. He has said that he doesn't find the prospect of being in the Senate all that interesting, but I don't understand how anyone who cares about all of the issues Bullock cares about, not just the environment, but also inequality, education and much more, could pass up this opportunity. Related, on the new episode of The Argument podcast, Ross Douthat, Michelle Goldberg and I talk about the Democrats' chances of winning back the Senate, and whether they're messing up those chances. For more, in our increasingly polarized, almost parliamentary political system, it's tougher to buck the top of the ticket. Unless, perhaps, you are a candidate with a strong image and a demonstrated history of outperforming your party. The Washington Post's Sarah Blake wrote, Trump won Montana by double his Texas margin, 18 points. Despite that, Bullock won re-election by 4 points on the same day. In the Times, Sarah Vowell reviewed Bullock's accomplishments, like expanding Medicaid, despite a Republican legislature, keeping rural hospitals open, freezing tuition at state universities and expanding the Montana Registered Apprenticeship Program. Like some leftist Dr. Doolittle, Mr. Bullock has a talent for knowing how to talk Republicans into doing Democratic things, including voting for him, Vowell wrote. A reminder, after President Trump told 4 non-white members of Congress to go back to other countries, Steve Daines, the senator Bullock would be running against, was among the president's quickest and loudest defenders. In doing so, Daines referred to anti-American, anti-Semite, radical Democrats who trash our country and our ideals. If you are not a subscriber to this newsletter, you can subscribe here. You can also join me on Twitter, @Leonhardt, and Facebook. Follow the New York Times opinion section on Facebook, Twitter, @Night Opinion, and Instagram. Let's block ads.